Today we're going to do lesson 4.6 on writing slope-intercept forms. So please take out your notebooks and pencils and label the next blank page, lesson 4.6, writing slope-intercept form. As usual, anytime you need to, feel free to pause the video and take notes or catch up. So you guys already know what slope-intercept form is. Y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept and m is the slope. So I should be able to give you a graph and you should be able to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So looking for the y-intercept, that's at -1. So it's going to be y equals something x minus 1. And now we're going to find the slope. So I'm going to go from that point. Here's a point right on a dot. I could also go down this way too, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Notice that goes backwards, so that's negative. So our slope is -2/3 x, which if you look at it, it goes down. So it's no wonder it's a negative slope. Let's try number 2. Y equals something x, and then we don't know. We can start there. Here's our y-intercept down here, so it's -3. And I'm going to go up to this point. I could go to that point too. 1, 2 over 1, 3, 4 over 2. So we know our slope is +2. And again, looking at the line, it goes up. So we know that is 2. So if you're given the slope and the y-intercept, you should be able to write your equation in slope-intercept form. So it says to work with a partner. We're not going to worry about that, but we're going to find the slope of each line, find the y-intercept of each line, and then we're going to write an equation for each line. So let's start with blue. Here's our y-intercept at 4, so y equals something x plus 4. And I'm going to go from this point to that point, so it's 1/2, so it's 1/2 x. Let's do the y. Again, y equals something x. Our y-intercept is +1. And here's another point, 1/2. So again, we have 1/2 x. Green, I bet you can kind of figure it out. Our intercept is -2. And our slope is going to be 1/2 x. So what do they all have in common? They all have the same slope, which we can kind of tell because they are all parallel lines. Let's do it again. We'll start with the red. Y equals something x. Our y-intercept is 3. And our slope, I'm going to go up to this point. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. So 4/3 x. Let's do our green line next. And again, we can tell our y-intercept is +3. So slope goes from there. I'm going to go up to this point. It's up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 1/6. And y equals, again, something x. And we're going to have the same y-intercept. That's one thing that these all have in common was the y-intercept right here. So now we got to find the slope. So here's a point. Here's a point we can go down. So we're going down 1 to the right 3. So it's going to be a -1/3. So given a graph, you should be able to find the equation in slope-intercept form. Now we're going to do it again. And again, don't have to work with a partner. We're going to look at a parallelogram. And we're going to write an equation that represents each side. So that means there's going to be 4 of them. So let's start with the easy ones first. I've got this line and I've got this line. These are horizontal lines. So we know they're going to be y equals, and this one crosses at 4. And y equals, and this one crosses at -2. Remember, between a vertical line and a horizontal line, it's just y equals for a horizontal line. So now let's do this line over here. And again, we got to picture this line quite a bit. So this, and I'm going to take this off for a second. I'm going to erase this line. Y equals something x. We don't have a y-intercept yet, but we're going to. So let's find the slope first. Here's a point, and here's a point. I'm going down 2 and to the right 1. So that's negative 2 over 1, or just negative 2. Now, what I'm going to keep doing is I'm just going to keep going with that until I get to where it crosses my y-intercept. And I had to extend my y-axis a little bit further, but I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. So here's where I'm at right now. Now I got to get to my extra spots. Down 2 to the right 1. Here's where it crosses the y-axis. So this is negative 5. This would be negative 6. So our equation would be y equals a negative 2x minus 6. We're going to have to do the same thing over here on the other side. Let's find our slope first. It goes up 2 into the left 1, and these are parallelograms, so it's not surprising that our slope is negative 2. So we're going to keep going. Up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1. Let's extend our y-axis. Up 2 to the left 1, we're at 6, 7, this would be 8, so plus 8. And again, notice we have the same slopes. This is a parallelogram, meaning that both opposite sides are parallel. So, what is the slope and y-intercept of the equation? Y equals 2x plus 4. Well, the slope is 2. And the y-intercept is 4. But now we can go backwards. This is the question that I want you to make sure you know. What is the equation with a slope of 3? We already know what the slope is. And a y-intercept of 1. So we have y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. B is our y-intercept. So you're going to be doing these on your homework too. So you'll get a set of parallelograms and you need to write the equations. So you can do it however you want to. You can label it. This will say this is side number 1. Side number 1, y equals, let's see, we got our slope of 2 over 1, so that's 2x. So we keep going, 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And again, we might have to extend up 2 to the right 1, so this would be 4, 5, 6, so plus 6. Then we'll do side 2. Side 2, y equals something x. We know what the y-intercept is. That time it's easy. 1, 2, 3, so that's plus 3. And we're going to go up 1 to the right, so that's 1/2. Number 3 is going to be parallel to number 1, so I'm going to do that. Y equals, it's going up, so I'll call it 2x, and it crosses our y at 0. So you can put plus 0 or you don't have to. Number 4, again, parallel to that first one, so y equals 1/2 x, and again, we know that see that it crosses at 0. We'll do the rectangle for number 2 one more time. We'll call that 1. Notice it crosses at 1, so y equals, we're going to go up 2 to the right 2, so that's basically 1x plus 1. Number 2, we'll call that this one. Notice it's going down, so I know my slope is going to be a negative. Let's go from this corner to this corner. We're going up 1, 2, 3, and over 3, but it's going, so it's a negative 1x. So if I kept going, it would cross right here. This is 4, that would be 5. So plus 5. 3, line 3, again, it's parallel, so I know it's going to be y equals 1x. And I'm going to keep going down. It would cross down here, so that's negative 4. That would be negative 5, so minus 5. And our last side, again, parallel with number 2, so that's y equals a negative 1x, same slope. And this one we know crosses at +1. So there's our equations. And you'll be doing this on your homework. So, write an equation in slope-intercept form. So here we go. Y equals, what's our slope? 1, 2, 3, and then backwards 2, so -3/2x. And it crosses at 5, so +5. Letter B, y equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, so 5/3x. And it crosses at -3, so -3. You try them. Pause the video, do these two, and then come back to see if you are correct. Y equals, and I got 2/1, so it's 2x plus 2, because that's where it crosses the y-axis. Y equals, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, but notice it goes backwards, so -4/3 x, and it crosses at -1. Which equation is this one when we're talking about a vertical line? It only goes through the y-axis, so it's going to be y equals that -4. We're going to call that letter A. Again, you have to know what these intercepts and slope and all that stuff means. So the graph shows the distance remaining to complete a tunnel. So we have the time in months on our x-axis, the distance remaining in feet on our y-axis. First thing they want us to do is write an equation. So letter A, we're going to start with y equals, and we know our y-intercept is at 3,500 feet, so we're going to just do 3,500. Slope, now I'm not just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, because these all count by 500. So it's 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 over 1, 2, 3, 4 that way, but that does count. So it's 2,000 rise, and then it's a backwards 4. So it's 2,000 divided by 4. And if you do that, that gives you 500, but it's going down. So it's -500x plus 3,500. So how much time does it take to complete the tunnel? Remember, this was at 0 months when they started talking. There was 3,500 feet left. By the time we get down here to 0 feet left, we're looking at 7 months. So the last thing you got to be able to do is find it between 2 points. And you've already kind of done this. The first thing you need to do is find slope, which is the change in y over the change in x. So again, we got x comma y for both of these. So let's look. Going from 5 to 5, that's a 0. 0 to 4 is 4. 0's on top, so our slope is 0. So it would be y equals 0x, and we can see that it crosses on our y-intercept, so +5. Simplify that down to y plus 5. And I'm not going to worry about these. We're going to do more of these tomorrow on the next class period. So your homework is in Schoology. It is the 4.6 exercises. You're going to do 3 through 15. This is a typo. It's 3 through 15. And that will be on there. Please do it on paper. I don't believe there's no graphing, just equations, so you should be just fine. And per usual, if you have questions, please feel free to message me.